Welcome to the CLIKPOD podcast. Justin, Mark, how are you guys? What's up?
Doing all right. Getting good grades. The future's so bright, I got to wear shades.
Nice.
Hey, thank you for inviting me back again.
It's your last time, so make the most of it. Donald Trump, Justin's favorite, Mark's least favorite, is he got indicted again, and he had to show up, and he had to face Jack Smith in court. And now, number 4 is on the horizon. Georgia, they're putting up some police presence around the courthouse where they may announce the indictment number 4 in the Georgia election thing. And the big question is, if he gets convicted, he's facing in total 561 years in prison. That's a death sentence for a man his age or any age. There's also a report that he may not have to go to prison because of the Secret Service protection that all presidents are afforded if, after they leave office. So do you think he should go to prison if he gets convicted, or would that just be too much for this country to bear?
No, he shouldn't. It's too much for the country. It's going to hurt the country. Ultimately, it's going to actually be a huge blow to the men and women who supported him, the people who stand by him. Also, it's just a huge, it puts the country in a really bad spot, and it will tear us apart. It's what our enemies want. It's what China wants. It's what Russia wants. So my issue that I have with this whole thing is that I see members of the left teaming up against this country with other countries to bring Trump down. It's a problem. And I think that China is involved in basically helping coordinate, bring Trump down. I think that they were threatened by Trump, and I think that they saw him as probably quite possibly the only candidate that was wise to their ways, so to speak, and that he was an obstacle in the way of their taking over the whole world.
Well, I think that's kind of loony talk, but if you actually think that China was involved with 4 separate grand jury investigations, it's kind of nuts. But anyway, that's right-wing talking points, I guess, that you're repeating. Let's face it, the guy committed a lot of crimes here. None of these investigations, by the way, have found him innocent. Isn't it interesting that this guy who basically now has been fully investigated by independent counsel, basically separate grand juries, none of them has said, there's not enough evidence here. They've all come to the conclusion the man should be prosecuted. And like I said before, he should be happy about this. He finally gets his day in court. He finally gets his chance to present his evidence that he can, that he's innocent.
Finally gets his day in court.
Let him talk to the judge about it. But I don't even care. I think I can handle him being in jail, to be honest with you. I can't wait to see him wearing an orange jumpsuit, which matches his skin color. That'll be a wonderful day to show that nobody is above the law in this country.
Apparently, the Biden family is.
Well, I know you'd like to keep bringing up Biden as a distraction.
I'm bringing him up because he's running the country right now. I'm focused on who's running the country.
But just the matter is, there's zero evidence at this point that Biden has done anything illegal. When that day happens,
Mark, hold on. Mark, I got a question for you.
Mark, a CLIKPOD episode at that time.
Mark, are we going on the,
there's been no evidence.
Mark, are you going on the record right now and saying you're saying that you think that there's zero evidence that shows Biden family did anything wrong? That's what you're saying right now?
He hasn't been charged with anything, has he? At this point, if there was
evidence,
charged, correct?
I need to know where you are mentally.
I'm just saying that
I need to
Trump
know where you
has
are.
been charged. Biden has not been charged, so it's a real distraction at this point.
Hey, when you interfere,
bringing up Biden, when Biden is charged, then we should have an episode on that. But honestly, there is no charges against Biden. So
right
now I'm focused on Trump, who the man is not above the law.
You're focused on the person not even running. You're focused on the person who's not even running the country. That's how sick this all is. That's how sick this all is. We have a madman running our country right now who doesn't even know what day of the week it is. He's run the country into the ground. We have an open border, but you don't worry about that. You worry about the ex-president because he did something.
Well, to be fair, Trump is running for president right now so that he can be back in charge of the country.
And he threatens the war machine, to be fair. And the war machine does not like to be challenged. And you got to have that war machine because there's so much money to be made. And Trump's going to stop it. So this is basically what you're watching, folks, right now. You're watching the deep state. You're watching dictators. The deep state. You're watching the war. You're watching what's called the military-industrial complex take out someone that threatens their war machine. This is what you're seeing right now. And people are believing it.
Trump sides with the war machine.
People are duped. People are duped and they're falling for it. And they think Trump's the enemy and they've been lied to and they believe it. So guys like Mark think that Trump's the bad guy. So they think that they're actually accomplishing something by trying to put in jail the only person who's actually going to bring peace, in my opinion. This is what's happening.
Well, can I say something about Trump and the jail thing? So like, for years, he was saying that if they even tried to indict me, first it was if they try to impeach me, people will take to the streets. Then if they indict me, people will take to the streets. There have been some demonstrations a little bit, but there hasn't been a mass movement into the streets to defend Donald Trump's honor, so to speak, with each indictment. So I don't know, like if he is found guilty, and I'm not saying he is, and actually, the Jack Smith thing is going to be hard to prove because it's about his mindset, what he knew, what he thought. Like, I don't know how
they can't prove it.
They're really going to have to. It's going to be very difficult to prove a lot of those accusations beyond a reasonable doubt. Yeah. However, if he's found guilty, we live in a country of laws. Even the president. What does it say if the president can get found guilty of these type of crimes and he still doesn't have to spend any time in prison? He's already gotten some special treatment. He hasn't been handcuffed once. He hasn't had his mugshot taken once, although Georgia says that they will mugshot him if he gets indicted.
I hope they release that.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to. I don't think.
Well, the thing is, I think.
Yeah, who cares? I mean, I hope so too. That's what I hope. I don't hope that gas prices. I don't hope that gas prices go down. I don't hope that the war stops. I don't hope that our border gets under control. No, I don't hope about that. I hope I get to see his mugshot. That's really what's important right now.
On the other hand, he's an ex-president, and like, what's he gonna?
It's ridiculous.
What could be another option? Do we exile him like Napoleon, or what? Like, what do we do if he gets found guilty?
What's wrong with putting him in prison? I mean, that's what everyone else ends up in prison. He's not above the law. He's not a king. And by the way, all Justin can do is throw distractions. He never addresses the charges that are against him, and neither does Trump, and neither does any of the right wing.
What's the charge, Mark? What's the biggest charge?
The charges are okay. Well, one of the charges have been that he was hiding. He was trying to stop the election as far as like sending contacting Georgia and trying to get the electoral votes switched or to find votes that didn't exist. Basically, the paperwork that was taken from the White House illegally, which was he's basically went on record that he had turned everything over. He didn't turn everything over. He knew about it, the secret documents. And basically now there's videotape and records that he instructed his staff, to hide the information, to basically destroy video evidence. I mean, this stuff is, he actually admitted to a lot of this stuff. They would have recordings of him talking about the records that he had and on hand. And so I think that, the Justice Department, the special prosecutor, they have a really good track record for this type of thing. They don't, they have a good prosecution record. They're not going to be prosecuting this guy unless they have very good evidence on him, because it's a hot potato. Nobody wants to deal with it. But I think he's definitely going to be found guilty on this. Whether or not the man should spend his life in jail over this, I think, I don't know if he should die in prison, but I do think he should do some prison time And I know. I mean, he's like every other citizen. And really, the only thing that the other side can ever say about these charges is they bring up, arguments about Biden. They never address the actual charges that are against him.
Mark, when they said they were,
we're gonna see him in court. Let him actually go to court.
Hey, Mark, I got a question. Mark, I got a question
himself.
for you. Mark, I got a question for you. You said Trump said he instructed people to destroy the hard drives. Do you know if he was going to use bleach bit?
Well, basically he did, like, supposedly, and I haven't seen the evidence.
I hear that's the company. I hear that's the company you can use. I hear that's the company you can use to destroy evidence and nothing happens to you. That's the rumor on the street. It's called Bleach Bit. Have you heard about that company?
Well, I guess you're going to be talking about Hillary now.
Well, no, I'm just saying. Hey,
okay, always
hold on,
no,
because you said because you said nobody's above the law, and you said one of the charges was that he was instructing people to destroy evidence, and we know that Hillary destroyed evidence using a company called Bleach Bit. So I'm just asking if there's any hypocrisy
here's
going
the
on
thing: Trump was in office when Hillary was investigated. His FBI investigated Hillary Clinton.
Right.
And guess what? No charges were ever presented.
Right. I'm just asking.
Why not?
I'm just asking.
Why not?
Hey, listen.
Why wasn't Hillary ever charged?
It's just a fair question.
He investigated. Remember the locker
I'm just asking a question
scenario?
if he's going to use Bleach Bit. I'm just asking.
FBI, William Burr.
I'm just asking if they
investigated this and no charges.
I'm just asking if they were going to use. I'm just asking if they were going to use Bleach Bit. I'm just curious if that's the company they were.
Well,
that'd be interesting.
Being sarcastic now.
No, I'm just asking a question.
I'm just saying that there are recorded. Apparently, the FBI has, I believe, either emails or recordings. I believe it is emails about him requesting that the tapes be erased because other people, Mar-a-Lago, have now been arrested.
Hey,
and
Dante,
again, this is all distraction.
Dante, nobody's above the law, according to Mark. Dante, nobody's above the law.
Well, if she was charged, why did he charge her? If she was guilty?
Forward, let's go on. Let's move on.
Justin, why wasn't she charged?
Well, I guarantee that if Hillary,
she was guilty, why wasn't she charged?
If Hillary had won,
was the president, right?
If Hillary had won, and the Republicans eventually took back a
nobody's above the law.
In Congress. Hillary definitely would have been investigated and probably impeached at some point over that if she had gotten into office, and then during the midterms the Republicans were able to take back a majority, which is what usually happens. So I think she may have been charged at some point. Of course, again, don't know if it would have been an honest or a worthy case, which is you can maybe say the same a little bit about some of the Trump stuff here, but it's going to be very I don't know. I keep coming back to the jail thing. Convicted, even if he's convicted, if he'll just be like, okay, whatever, it was a fake conviction. There was a witch hunt, blah, 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 blah. And he'll keep on going right into the presidency if he wins. It's the putting him in jail. Now, it's not without precedent. Lula in Brazil went to jail. He got sentenced to 9 years. He was in there for 580 days. He got out. Now he's the president again in Brazil. So it didn't exactly destroy their country to see their leader in prison over corruption charges. But Trump is a different animal.
We have a two-tier justice system in this world, and it's obvious. This country has two tiers of justice. Those who are on the side of the military-industrial complex and the media's darlings. Those people can do anything they want. Nothing happens to them. And anybody that opposes them goes to jail or gets in trouble and goes to court. That's it. It's obvious. If you look at the charges, if you look at things that people have gotten away with, it's blatantly obvious that we have a two-tier system. And that's just how it is.
Well, I guess we got to start somewhere. Let's start with Trump.
Yeah, let's just start with the people. Let's just start with the people that are down to the war machine.
It sounds like you just don't want to do anything.
Yeah, we should. No, we should. No, I agree with you, Mark.
You're supporting not doing anything at all.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you, Mark. If we're gonna
Trump.
If we're gonna make a change in this country, we have to start with the people that are going against the war machine. That's where we should start, Mark.
The guy has
ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous statement ever. You're living in a twilight zone you built in your own brain. It's insane.
It sounds like you want a king, not a president. I mean, it sounds like you just don't think the guy.
I want to see. No, I just want to see the law.
This guy can do no wrong. You should vote for a king.
I want to see the law be applied to everybody, Mark, not to people that you don't like.
I
don't like him. So the law.
Trump has actually said he
Same.
wants to get rid of the Constitution. He's actually said that. Justin's all for that. He just wants
I'm
a
not.
dictator in office.
No, I'm not.
That's
I'm actually not
basically what
for
it
that.
is.
I want to go on the record and say I'm not for that.
Well, but you know that he did say that. He's been documented as saying that. That is correct, though, correct?
Mark just made a false statement. I never said that. I'm not for that.
No, I never said that you support it, but I'm saying
just
that
said I said
apparently you
that.
do.
You just said I
Apparently you
said
do,
that.
because your
You just said I
candidate
like
has
that.
said your candidate has said that he wants to get rid of the Constitution. That,
I'm arguing against
apparently, if you support this guy, you're supporting a guy who doesn't even believe in democracy. So I mean,
Yeah.
you're complaining about
you're supporting
the legal system. This guy doesn't even believe in democracy at all. So
yeah, not like the Biden family. They just imprison the competition.
Dante, I believe the U.S. is ready. I think the American people can handle this guy going to prison. We'll be okay.
Oh, I love to see the Biden family go to jail.
The history will march on without Trump.
I'd love to see the Biden
family. There's many other people who could run this country much better and much more legal.
Can Biden? Yeah, I got a question for you, Mark. Can Biden run the country better than Trump?
I've always said, I said before on this podcast, I'm not a Biden supporter either.
I'm asking a simple question.
I'm a moderate, and I said if Biden is found guilty, if he's investigated and charges are presented against him, he should have his day in court as well.
Great. I have a question for you, though, Mark. I have a question for you. Who do you think, in your honest opinion, ran the country better, Biden or Trump? Be honest. Who ran the country better?
Right now, I think Biden. Be honest with
you. So you're a grown adult. You're a grown adult, and you're looking at the evidence.
They're both bad.
You're grown man.
Hold on. I know you like to say. I'm just asking a question, Mark. You're a grown man. Let me answer the question. You asked me once. You said to me one time, "Oh, are you happy you voted for Biden?" Yeah, I am. I'd rather have Biden over Trump. Is Biden perfect? No. There's been many problems with him, and actually, I'd like to see him gone. But right now, I think if you're going to say Biden or a guy who doesn't even believe in the U.S. Constitution, you know what? I support democracy. I'll support a guy, a president that who places his hand on the Bible and says his main job is to protect the Constitution of the United States. I want a guy who's going to live up to that, not some guy who basically says, "Mark, I don't even believe in
Mark,
this."
You're all over the map.
You guys are a bunch of suckers.
Mark, you're all over the map with this answer. Let me ask you something. You just said you made a statement as a grown adult. You're a grown man, and you just made a statement that you think Biden is running the country better than Trump.
Adult. You don't have to attack me like that.
You made a statement that you think Biden's running. You think Biden's running the country better than Trump. Okay, that's great. You can make that crazy. I mean, that's a crazy statement to make, but you can make it. You're entitled to your wacky opinion. Here's my question. What is better right now under Biden than under Trump? What's one thing about our lives right now that's better? Gas prices, food prices, the border. What's better? War. What's better, Mark? What do you like better?
Well, I do think for one thing, I think that the environmental issues he's been going after, he's basically adjusted. One of the things
that doesn't answer the question. That's his goal.
I'm answering the question.
No, you're not. I'm asking. No, because you're saying his goals.
The guy
you're saying you think his goals are better. I'm saying what's
step in here.
No,
all right,
question. Let me answer the question.
What's one thing in our lives right now that's better?
I was trying to answer it. He tries to.
We're running.
Apparently doesn't want to hear an answer.
All right.
We're running out of time anyway, so let's get final.
Hold on.
Let's get final thoughts on this.
I can't answer that with this guy cut me off.
Go ahead. Give me one thing in our lives right now that's better under Biden than it was under Trump.
Let's move on. This guy just wants to cut me off. Okay.
No, I'm not. Go ahead. I'm going to let you answer. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, one of the things was when Trump was in office, he was going to try to give out. There's a salmon breeding ground up in Alaska it basically has gives the majority of U.S. salmon breeds in this area, something like 80% of the salmon. And there's a gold mining company that wanted permission to use this ground. They were worried it was going to leak into the breeding area, which was Obama was he set it up so that nothing could be developed on that land. Of course, when Trump came in, he hated Obama so much that he basically got rid of everything that Obama tried to set up, including that contract. He allowed that gold company to go ahead and basically drill into that environmental area. One of the things Biden did right away was come up and get rid of that and allow that land to be protected, as it should be. I mean, come on, that's just one environmental issue.
That is a great answer, Mark. Our lives are all been improved right now because of that. That's an excellent
answer. Actually, that's a huge thing. I'm sorry, environment, the nature does is an important issue. Even though I guess you're not interested in that.
I am interested in the environment. I care about the environment, and I think all of our lives have improved a lot greatly because of that. That alone just makes it all better that Biden.
I do remember when Trump left office,
wonderful answer,
the entire country was shut down. Justin seems to forget that.
It's a great answer, Mark.
Was shut down. Okay,
our lives are all better now because of that.
The entire country was shut down, and Biden was able to get the country up and running again. I think after like a month of being in office.
Democrats shut everything down.
Biden was in office. Trump was too busy playing golf to even address
Democrats shut the whole country down and then they open it up again.
6 months of his office.
That's like robbing someone's house and giving them the things back. I'm like, here, look what I gave you.
Listen, guys, we've run out. This will be continued as the cases develop, and hopefully we'll get that.
Hold on, I gotta say something. Did you hear Mark's 4-hour answer about what's better in our country under Biden and then Trump? That was his answer. A salmon farm.
Like I said, I'm not a big Biden supporter.
This is what we're dealing. This is the lunacy we're dealing with.
I'm supporting Biden, but because the truth
that was his answer. That's what's better.
I'm not a Biden supporter either, but I'd rather have Biden, a guy who acts and respects the Constitution. Okay, I'd rather have Biden than a dangerous person like Trump
$6 a gallon for gas
in office.
Trump
is dangerous, actually.
It's insane.
If he gets back into office, the first thing he's going to do, and he said this, is go after his enemies. Like dictators say that type of thing. Trump is not only a whack job, he's a dangerous person. Yes, I'd rather have Biden in office.
Yeah. Keep paying $7 for gas, my friend.
Well, let's move on. We got another, and listen, maybe Trump can go to jail on the weekends or something if he gets convicted, like Jeffrey Epstein.
Mark
belongs to visit him
on the
weekends. You could visit him in prison.
Great. It's too far of a drive. I can't afford the gas.
House arrest. All right, let's move on to this weird story. Sound of Freedom is a movie that was crowdfunded about child trafficking. It's based on a true story. The idea of it seems very noble, but it comes out today that one of the investors was arrested himself for child kidnapping back in July, a guy named Fabian Marta. And he posted on Facebook about his involvement. Again, he wasn't like a producer where he was on set and stuff like that, but he was one of the people that helped fund the film. And it's just like, how I'm not surprised at all, because for some reason, again, it's a great, it's a noble idea, but like something about these people who are so into like the QAnon trafficking thing, like, what are you trying to hide? And now we see a guy getting busted for the very thing that the movie is about.
This has happened before in history. The people that tend to be so like gung ho about a cause tend to be the ones that are involved in the crime themselves. I think maybe by like aligning himself as an investor in this, that he thought that was going to buy him like a little bit of, kind of freedom, or was going to get a jail free card for him or something. Or maybe if he was associated with this movie, then somehow the feds would overlook him. But no, and he belongs in jail, whatever he did wrong. If it involves kids, I hate that stuff. So take him down, take them all down.
I think conservatives love this film, don't they?
They love it. Yeah. It's
I wonder if he's conservative.
Why would have to be why does your political background have to be whether or not you like a movie that shows that they're, helping children survive trafficking? What's the political background on that?
Trump supporter.
But why is politics
supported by a lot of Trumpsters? I just want to
but that's weird to me that you would think that that's a laughing matter. That like why do you care if someone's political background? It shouldn't be a political thing to help children that are being trafficked across the border. I mean, if you really want to get into the heat of it, Democrats right now have an open border. What's his name? Mayorkas is probably the worst guy to control the border I've ever seen in my life, and he's got an open border policy. And basically, it's what's happening is children are getting trafficked across the border and getting put into all kinds of camps and they're getting killed. And why would you not want to stop that? That's sick and
Actually,
weird.
Actually, for you to claim that this isn't a political thing, I mean, the conservatives have definitely turned this film into a political flag, constantly calling out liberal Democrats in Hollywood that they were like against this film and things like that. So I'm sorry.
Was that not true?
Well, I will say
it shouldn't be turned into a political thing, but it has been, unfortunately.
I mean, look, it's a movie made. I mean, Jim Caviezel is a known conservative in Hollywood. You know, he played Jesus Christ in The Passion of the Christ. But here's the thing: there's also the other side of it, though, which is there are a lot of liberals online who are so entrenched in being against anything that conservatives are for that they're even coming out against this movie and the whole idea and trying to downplay it and be like, oh, there's not that much child trafficking. It's not so like they're online now trashing the movie to an extent where you also look at the liberals and say, well, what's wrong with you? You know, why do you have to make, why can't you just be like, hey, you know, child trafficking is bad. I think we can all agree on that. Yeah, that's what I'm
saying. But Mark's like, the conservatives are getting involved. What are you talking about?
I never said, well, listen, I said that the film has become a political hot potato, and I think that you have to acknowledge that a lot of the backers, a lot of the political hot potato was thrown at the liberals because they held it back for political reasons, and it was they were trying to hide something, the Illuminati and that controls the child like abuse movement in Hollywood. They're the ones trying to prevent this film from being released.
But hold on a second.
I personally have never seen this film, but honestly, I have no problem with this film being made. I heard I'd like to go see it. It's not really something I'd.
But I don't understand what you're
see a film about. But I think eventually I'll check it out. But I think that I've heard reports that the film is good from some people, and I've heard some people say they thought the film sucked. So
yeah, but Mark,
I would like to see it myself to make my own opinion. But I just think that you're right. This film shouldn't be a political tool, but unfortunately, it already was that way before. By the conservatives, they already made it a political.
But Mark, in their defense, though, there was some evidence that that studios and theaters were trying not to show it. That's true. I don't know why you would not think that didn't happen. It did happen.
I think maybe some theaters didn't want the controversy. I don't know. I know people would go and sit in the theater and be like, why does it say that it was sold out online when it's empty? They're trying to stop us from seeing it. But the truth is that a lot of wealthy people on the conservative side, I believe, bought tickets around the country, and they were like, you can see it for free. You just, register here and we'll send you a ticket. And so I'm sure they had to buy up all the showings, and that's why you got a bunch of empty seats, but it says that it's sold out. Here, let me put my Alex Jones hat on for a second. What are the chances? What are the chances that the globalists, that this guy is a psyop to undermine the movie, and that they put this guy together in a whole fake story, and that it's not just Fabian Marta is not a real guy, and that it's a conspiracy to be like, see, they're the child traffickers, actually, the makers of Sound of Freedom.
I think it's great, by the way, that they actually raised the money, from a source outside the studios. You're saying that there's a big conspiracy why they didn't release this movie was because they were trying to hide something, but it may have been as simple as financial reasons, that they just don't like films being financed outside the studios. It's kind of, as a threat to the studio system. They want to be the key holder to getting a film made. You have to go to them to beg them for money to get a film produced. And these producers showed you didn't have to do that. This film, I was reading, the film's made over $100 million now. It's amazing. And whether like I said, I haven't seen the film yet. I have no opinion on it as far as if it's a good film or bad film. But I think good for them for raising the money like this. It opens the doors for many filmmakers in the future. And I have no problem with this film being released myself. I know there's been a lot of controversy as if this film is accurate. I saw some videos about it and some people commenting on the accuracy of the production and the story that's in it. But again, a lot of films that are supposedly based on a true story in Hollywood are completely false. Right. Very loosely based on a true story. So this film is really no different.
Well, we'll have to.
But yeah,
we'll
it's
have to
amazing.
see.
It's amazing this guy's involved with this thing. Doesn't surprise me. There's so many people that were probably involved with the financing of the film. There's bound to be some horrible people involved with it. I don't think the film should be like, mud should be thrown on it because one guy who helped finance it.
Right.
That doesn't, how they're supposed to do background checks on all their file. You
of
don't
course.
really know what people
But
are
the
like,
headline, for people who just read the headlines, it'll be like, I knew it. Sound of Freedom. They're actually
They're the bad guys
in the theater. They're trafficking children out of the theater. And we will see how Hollywood treats this movie come award season and whether they will say that it's being prevented from being nominated. I don't know what the film's ESG score is, but we'll have to see if it qualifies. All right, before we wrap it up, let's just spend like 2 quick minutes on this William Shatner thing. Shatner is like thinking that the UAP hearings in Congress are a waste of time because he doesn't believe in alien life. Does that surprise you that Captain Kirk, who has been to space himself, is not a believer in alien life?
It's a shock.
Well, I guess, it is kind of shocking, especially since the Navy itself has come out and said that UAPs exist. I mean, for him to now like totally say, oh, there's nothing at all. I mean, even our own government has admitted, that there is something, that they are seeing something, whether or not it's alien life forms or whatever. But he makes an interesting point. I mean, he was saying that, why are they hiding if they, have traveled thousands and thousands of light years to get here? Why hide? It doesn't make any sense. Well, my answer to that is you're thinking like a human being. You're trying to understand the mindset of aliens, and through human reasoning. Okay, right. Who knows why they're doing it? There may be some reason that you can't even comprehend. So I don't know. I mean, I think these hearings are good to be happening, but it's weird how they're kind of disappearing now. It doesn't seem like they had the hearings, and I wonder if anything's going to come out of it. It's interesting, but they seem to be dying off.
They need to come out with some real clear footage and or pictures to show people. I think everyone was kind of disappointed that it was just a bunch of talking. We didn't really see much new evidence outside of the Navy videos we all know. With Shatner, we got to remember too that he's like 91 years old or something. So he probably it's in his mind the way that we've all thought of aliens through most of the 20th century and the early part of the 21st century, which is like they had to come from space and they had to travel here and all that. Nowadays, your average UFO UAP believer is open to the possibility of interdimensional beings, of them coming up from the sea, from, who knows where, like all kind of different possibilities. It's not just the same old, they traveled across space and now they're here and they're hiding. So maybe that's what it is. He's just thinking like a guy from like, the mid 20th century, that type of view of aliens.
Also,
And
also, if this planet is a giant petri dish for for them to learn about our species, they wouldn't interact with us in the way that traditional way that we think anyway. They're going to kind of, look at us from a distance and observe. So that would make sense.
Yeah, they had even testified that they are speculating on the fact that they may be interdimensional. That may be how they're getting here. They're not certain that they're coming from outer space. They may be coming from other dimensions. They actually testified that to that in the Washington hearing. So it's interesting. I mean, you kind of wish Captain Kirk would basically support these UFO hearings, but he seems to poo-poo the entire thing off, which kind of shocked me. At least say, yeah, it's interesting to hear. Let me support this and see what evidence it comes out. But he's pretty much just going, it's all a bunch of malarkey.
It's also kind of like an egotistical human thing to believe, like, why wouldn't they come say hello to us? Like, like, how do you, if they're so advanced, they're probably looking at us like we don't go up and greet the insects that are on the ground. You kind of watch them and that's it.
By the way, I just wanted to point out that, this guy went to space in Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos, capsule that he sends. I'm completely against that thing. It's just a complete egotistical waste of money for a few uber rich people to be wasting, resources, fuel and everything else, just so a couple rich people can go into outer space and have a little look around. It reminds me a lot about the sub that went down to the Titanic. And I mean, is that really even necessary? Do people even need to be visiting that graveyard? It's kind of very sad. And I think that Shatner is just a part of this whole thing. I saw in this clip, at the end of the clip, he's supporting this company that wants to put DNA inside of crystals, your DNA, and dump them on the moon, like $150,000. He just wants to litter the moon with costume jewelry, basically. That's what this guy is about. So, it's kind of disappointing Shatner, is doing this, but he's kind of a huge egotist.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of the Ocean Gate submarine, one of the executives from that company now wants to mount a mission to send people in a capsule to one of the moons of Venus by like 2030 or 2050, probably 2050. So get ready. You want to talk about an ego trip. Get ready for that. I think Donald Trump will be sent on one of those capsules when he's eventually convicted.
Like in Superman 2.
Yeah.
I think we should finance that and leave him there.
All right,
tell you what, that planet would do a lot better than the planet we have now if he's running it.
Low gas prices on Venus, that's for sure.
And no war and no open border.
That's right.
And chicken won't be $20 a package.
Sounds like freedom.
And steak will be
Where are you
cheaper.
buying chicken at? $20 a package?
He buys it from the Hamptons.
Trader Joe's, really? Dude.
He has it shipped.
Food prices are through the roof.
Brought to his apartment and slaughtered it at his apartment.
Food prices are through the roof. It's insane.
Food prices are through the roof.
Last week you said that the gas prices are $7 a gallon, which wasn't true.
Listen to me. I'll tell you something. While Mark's is whittling on about something with the salmon and whatever the hell whatever his 9-hour answer was, the real people are looking at things like fuel prices, food prices, an open border, a war, little things like that.
What does that have to do with whether
at the end of the day, Mark's happy though, everybody. Mark's happy that Biden's running the country.
All right, I was trying to get you guys.
So you should
everybody, Mark's happy. That's all that matters. Mark's happy.
High gas prices. Don't prosecute somebody because there's high gas prices.
I'm sorry, family, you can't afford fuel and food, but this guy Mark's happy. So that's all that really matters right now. He's happy.
All right. I was trying to get you guys out of here. Don't worry. There'll be plenty more opportunities to talk about Trump. For everybody watching and listening, please go subscribe to clickpop.substack.com. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at ClickPop. And, of course, subscribe to our YouTube. Turn the notifications on so you'll know when we're going live here on this podcast. Any last words?
Why didn't Trump release the UFO evidence when he was in office?
Okay. All right. That's good. Justin?
Why haven't the Democrats released the list of who's on that? What's
Ghislaine Maxwell
list? Yeah. I want to see the names on that list, dude.
Most of those people on the list were investors in the Sound of Freedom, I heard.
Probably.
All right.
Trump was good friends with that guy, by the way.
That's the biggest myth ever. He kicked him out of the place because he hit on one of the members.
Photos of him with his arm around him.
Wow. Right. If there's a post, he had a picture of Clinton with a dress on his wall.
We should do an Epstein special show one day. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next episode.
Stay home. Don't drive. Gas is too expensive.
Take care, everybody.
Stop eating chicken. It's price is too high.